We have some breaking news at the time of recording this video. President Trump has now officially announced double-digit tariffs on 3 major US competitors: Canada, Mexico, and China. He cited a bunch of different reasons behind this, which we will dive into later on in this video. But this could be the start of a chain reaction of tariff events, because Donald Trump is also now turning his attention to Europe and putting tariffs on the European Union. So, why is he doing this? What does that mean for you at home? And what does this mean for the US economy as a whole? We'll take a look at all of this and deep dive into what's going on, but before we do, it takes just 2 seconds. If you're new around here and you enjoy this video, please do consider hitting the like and subscribe button down below. And without further ado, let's get into it. Well, let's take a look at the announcement that Donald Trump made on his Truth Social page. What exactly has he said in relation to this event? Today, I have implemented a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada, 10% on Canadian energy, which we will dive into later on in this video, and a 10% additional tariff on China. This was done through the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA, because of the major threat of illegal aliens and deadly drugs killing our citizens, including fentanyl. We need to protect Americans, and it's my duty as president to ensure the safety of all. I made a promise on my campaign to stop the flood of illegal aliens and drugs from pouring across our borders, and Americans overwhelmingly voted in favor of it. So you heard it there, a 25% tariff on all goods coming from Mexico and Canada, and an additional 10% tariff on all goods coming from China. Now, if we start with Canada to begin with, what does Donald Trump currently dislike about the trading arrangement between Canada and the United States? Well, take a look at this. This was published prior to Trump's return to the White House. Canada's trade surplus with the United States widens before Trump's return, underscores the major role the US plays in Canada's economy. What does that mean? Well, Canada has a trading surplus with the United States, which basically means they are selling more to the US than the US is selling to Canada. So essentially, Canada is up on exports, the US is down on exports. And as you can imagine, for somebody like Donald Trump, he will not be happy if his competitors are selling more to him than he is selling to them. Have a listen to this. Quote, Canada recorded a 9th consecutive monthly trade deficit in November, albeit smaller than expected, as exports rose faster than imports, and its trade surplus with the United States widened. US President-elect Donald Trump has repeatedly criticized Canada's trade surplus with its biggest trading partner, and has said he will impose a unilateral 25% tariff on all Canadian goods, which economists said could dent the surplus. On the face of it, tariffs are about tackling trade deficits, with the US importing more than it's been exporting. However, the deficit with some of its key partners has been widening over the last couple of years. In November 24, the US had a deficit of $5 billion with Canada, $15.3 billion with Mexico, and $24.9 billion with China. Lo and behold, Donald Trump has just announced a 25% tariff on Canadian goods, and as you can imagine, America's next-door neighbors are not too happy about this. Take a listen.
Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods. This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives.
So, the US has hit Canada with tariffs. Canada has responded and hit the US with tariffs. What does that mean going forward? Are we on the cusp of a trade war? Well, I want to show you this because we are now about to see food prices go up, gas prices go up, albeit Donald Trump did exclude crude oil from the 25% tariffs on Canada, which is very good news because if he did include crude oil within the 25% tariff, that would have sent the price of gas skyrocketing even higher. So, for now, higher food prices, higher gas prices, in spite of the fact that crude oil is exempt from the tariff. Now, as for Mexico, just like Canada, they are not happy with the situation either, and have also vowed retaliatory tariffs against the United States. And with the United States being by far and away Mexico's most important foreign market, it's no surprise that Mexico and Canada are angry with what Donald Trump is trying to pursue here. So what is Donald Trump's end goal here? What exactly is he striving for with these tariffs? Well, inevitably, while these tariffs will make goods that come from Canada and Mexico more expensive for the American customer, on the whole, this could be part of a grander plan to get America producing their own goods once again. Donald Trump has been incredibly vocal about wanting America to be self-sufficient when it comes to energy, agriculture, the steel industry, the automobile industry, all those kind of industries. He wants America to be number one. He wants America to be producing the goods at home. So, if tariffs are in place, are the customers, are businesses now going to look to produce the goods in the United States as opposed to abroad in another country? That could very well be the grand plan that Donald Trump is putting into place here. But it was put to Trump by a reporter recently that his actions would cause prices to rise in America. Let's have a listen and see what he had to say in response.
You promised Americans to try to reduce costs, and so many of the products that would be tariffed when they come into the country, the outgoing country is not paying the tariff. The buyers in the United States pay that, and then that's passed on to consumers in most instances.
Sometimes.
How would you expect to have prices come down if you have such a broad plan for tariffs? And what do you say to the voters who want to see you reduce everyday costs?
Well, let me just tell you that I got elected for a lot of reasons. Number one was the border. Number two was inflation, because I had almost no inflation. And yet I charged hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs to countries. And think of it, I had almost no inflation, and I took in $600 billion of money from other countries. And tariffs don't cause inflation, they cause success. They cause big success. So we're going to have great success. There could be some temporary short-term disruption, and people will understand that. I had that when I negotiated some of the good deals for the farmers.
Short-term disruption with a view to long-term prosperity. From the sounds of that statement, quite clearly, Donald Trump is aiming to play the long-term game. He understands that while prices will increase in the short term, his grand plan involves bringing back companies that have fled the United States for, whether it's financial reasons, legal reasons, tax avoidance reasons. He wants to get them to come back, bringing back all the jobs that were lost when they left in the first place. As such, when they produce their goods in the United States, they avoid the tariffs. They're exempt from those taxes. As such, you find more Americans in work because the job market suddenly has a new boom of jobs with the companies coming back into the United States. If Trump can follow through with his plans to abolish income tax as well, or certainly reduce it, more money in Americans' back pockets, and on top of that, GDP starts to go up. Now, granted, in the short term and in the near term future, there is going to be a lot of pain and financial strain on Americans' back pockets, their wallets, their purses, everything. If Trump can pull it off in the long term, then this could very well be a good thing for the US economy, but it remains to be seen because, as we all know, things can dramatically change in the world of business, in the world of technology, in the world of politics in general. Furthermore, with Trump alleging that the US is being flooded with fentanyl from Canada, China, and Mexico, it's also very likely he could turn around and say, we will remove the tariffs we've put in place on your country if you secure the borders and stop the flood of fentanyl into the United States. That, in turn, would be a very good thing, because if you're then stopping the drug trade, you're then improving Americans' health too. Now, how Trump's tariffs will impact the way the US is viewed as a partner of Canada, Mexico, and China, along with how the US is viewed with the rest of the world, that remains to be seen, because of course we're only just coming off the back of him announcing officially that the tariffs are being put in place. But, as mentioned at the start of this video, This could very well be the start of a chain reaction of tariff-based events, because Donald Trump is now eyeing up Europe and the European Union by putting tariffs on them in the future. Trump says he will absolutely impose tariffs on the EU. Am I going to impose tariffs on the European Union? You want the truthful answer, or shall I give you a political answer? Absolutely. The European Union has treated us so terribly. Well, we're only 2 weeks in since Donald Trump has returned to the White House, so let's see what happens in the near and the long-term future, not only for the US economy, but for the world. And I will bring you all the latest updates as soon as I have the information to hand. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the situation. Do you support Donald Trump putting these tariffs in place? Are you firmly against them? What do you think the intended effect or the actual effect will be as a result of them? Please let me know your thoughts down below. All opinions are welcome. As usual, I'll be returning soon in the coming days and weeks, but until then, see you all later and take care.